Hi everybody, it's Mandy Enright with Nutrition Nuptials. If you are looking to learn all about how to live your healthy, happily ever after, go check out my blog, nutritionnuptials.com. Thanks so much for tuning in. Today I am here chatting all about how to make that perfect mason jar salad. You may have seen them online, maybe on Pinterest or social media, or maybe your friend posted one and it looked really cool and you're like, that looks amazing. How do I go about doing that? Or how do I not make it messy or gross? And that is what I am here today to talk to you about, is how to make and master that mason jar salad. So I tend to be pretty famous about picking up on trends maybe about a year or two later, but I started making these a couple months ago and I absolutely am obsessed with making these because they are such an easy lunch to make. I can grab and go, and on my way out the door have lunch prepared for me. Always good. So for years, I was always a sandwich maker for lunch. And recently I'm like, you know what, I need to make more salads. And every morning it's making that salad, putting it together. It can be really tedious. So these mason jar salads are awesome because they are a great way to have a lunch prepped to go. The other great thing about the mason jar salads is that they are a phenomenal way to use up leftovers, because once we cut up and chop up vegetables, they tend to lose a little bit of nutritional value because nutrients in our food don't really like air and oxygen. So the more that we expose them to those elements, the less nutritious they can be over time. So we want to try and really make sure that we are using our vegetables sooner than later once we cut them up. The great thing about a mason jar is that once you seal it up, they can be really airtight, so that way it really protects the nutrient value of your vegetables. So I'm here today to share with you all about how do we make and master this perfect mason jar salad. And it really comes down to layering and how we get those layers in our mason jars so that we can keep our salad safe, not soggy, and nice and tasty. So I'm going to share with you my little setup I have here. So starting off with my mason jars, we then go to some dressings, and then some veggies, some beans, tomatoes, some grains, and then last but not least, our greens. So I'm going to show you all about how we get these guys layered up. So first and foremost, we want to start with our mason jar. And you want to use about a 16-ounce pint-sized mason jar. I found that to be the best size. You can find these pretty much everywhere now because, again, mason jars have become really popular and trendy as far as for storage as well as for decorations. So you can find these anywhere from a Michael's to your local grocery store. I actually ordered a couple cases of these on Amazon because it was really cheap, and I will put a link below where you can find your own perfect size mason jars to make your mason jar salad. So our very first layer of our mason jar is actually the dressing. So this is where it goes on the bottom. I am going to start off, this is actually a homemade Italian dressing that I have, but you can put any dressing that you want in. It is your salad, it is your choice, it is your world. So with my salad dressing layer, you can put anywhere from about 2 to 4 tablespoons, and some of that might depend on the thinner thickness of your dressing. So I find that the thinner dressings, I tend to use a little bit less because it travels a lot and I don't want to get super soggy. Some of my thicker dressings, I might use up to those 4 tablespoons worth in my jar. So first layer, dressing. Second layer is what we call our hard vegetables. And you want to have those vegetables as close to the dressing as possible because, number one, they're not going to soak up the dressing as much as some of the softer things, so that way it's going to really protect that jar from getting soggy. So here I'm going to start off with some fresh cut broccoli. And what's really cool about these mason jars is I actually do them a lot of times with people and clients as a social gathering, and everybody kind of brings 1 or 2 toppings with them, so that way the burden is not necessarily on you to have everything ready to go. And that way you can get your friends together, you can share. If there's things that you've never had before, I did one of these a couple months ago, and a friend of mine had never had hemp seeds before. So it was a great chance for her to try out hemp seeds, see if she liked it, and going with that. So right now, again, I'm layering in all of my, what we call our hard vegetables. And the reason I actually have a lot of vegetables is because over the weekend for Father's Day, I had family over, and I'm told that everybody was really picky. So I kind of created this little salad bar type setting because I wanted everyone to eat some vegetables, and I wanted to try and incorporate them in a way that was a little bit more inviting. So if people want to just pick a couple cucumbers, they were welcome to do that, and rather than kind of putting this whole big salad in front of everyone. So again, layer 1, our hard veggies. Layer 2 is actually going to be our beans. So any sort of beans that you want to use are fantastic. They are a great way to throw in some extra protein and fiber, which I love, 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 love. So I'm using some lentils. These are actually frozen lentils, and I have some frozen edamame as well. To use frozen beans are awesome because you can easily have them ready to go. So after our bean layer, then we want to go into what we call either our soft vegetables or fruits, because again, we want to not have these guys super close to our dressing layer, but we also don't want them to be all squished in. So this is a layer that you can use with anything like tomatoes, olives, artichokes. If you like to put fruit in your salads like pineapples, apples, pears, this would be the layer to add it in. After our soft veggie and fruit layer, then we can add in some whole grains. So if you've never added whole grains into a salad before, I highly recommend it because again, great way to sneak in that fiber. So here I have some freekeh, and as I mentioned too, these types of salads are great ways to use up leftovers so that they're not hanging out in your fridge. So I'm adding in a little bit of freekeh. Freekeh is a whole grain. It is very high in protein and fiber, so great way to, again, get those nutrients in. And then after my grain layer, this is where I'm going to add in any sort of nuts, seeds, or dried fruit. So I do love to add in a little bit of some crunchy, healthy fats from my nuts. So I'm going to add in a little bit of sunflower seeds, a little bit of almonds because I love them. And then I'm going to put just a little sprinkle of chia seed in because I'm such a sucker for my seeds. And now we are at our final layer, which is actually our green layer. So with our greens, we want them to be at the top. And now you'll notice that because I started with my dressing at the bottom, my greens are as separated as possible from my dressing all the way at the bottom. So now I have this beautifully layered salad that, yes, looks fantastic in pictures, but it's also a great way to have a nice lunch that is prepared, not soggy, and ready to go. And then finally, once I get all this guy layered up, that is when I'm going to put my top on to keep this guy nice and airtight and safe in my fridge. So these guys do keep, pretty much I found them keep almost over a week, which is awesome. So if you don't think that you might get to this tomorrow, that's okay. Because again, the way that you layered this, you kept this in a perfectly safe way so that your salad is going to be under control. Now, one of the layers that you may have noticed I didn't include was any kind of protein. And the reason for that is because I actually recommend that you add your protein the day of you're going to actually enjoy your salad. Because again, you don't want your protein really sitting in here. Proteins do tend to cause things like bacteria to grow, so we want to try and eliminate that. And we also, it's a great way to utilize any proteins that you may have left over, let's say from a dinner, or you just have extras that you prepped. So some of the proteins I love to use in addition to something that might be left over from my dinner could be things like hard-boiled eggs. I also really, really, really love these Starkist salmon and tuna creations. These are such an awesome protein. I can carry them in my bag. They don't get messy. They don't get stinky. And I can throw them on top of my salad when I'm ready to enjoy it. Also, cheeses will get added on at the time that you're ready to enjoy your salad. The other thing that you're going to add on at the time that you're going to enjoy your salad is going to be what we call our squishy vegetables. So those are things like your mushrooms, avocados, again, those things that we, don't want to get all smushed up. So we're going to add those on our day of. And now I have a beautifully layered mason jar salad, and I hope that you are going to have the same. So I can't wait to see what your mason jar salad creations are. If you're looking for a little bit of mason jar inspiration, or maybe want some recipes again, going back into that layering, please feel free to comment below. I would be more than happy to email you some recipes that I have with mason jar salads, how to layer them up. Also, if you're looking for a great salad dressing options, I always am happy to chat with you about a product I work with called Wild Tree, which is all natural, low sugar, low sodium, as well as all natural ingredients. So always love to share those guys as well. But again, if you are looking to make a mason jar salad part of your lunchtime experience, get to it, start layering up, and enjoy them. And when you are ready to enjoy it, all you're going to do is take your top off, dump it out into a plate or bowl, add those day of toppings, and voila. So enjoy those mason jar salads. I can't wait to see what you've mastered. Have a great evening and enjoy your lunch tomorrow.